How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge. From worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey everyone, welcome back to We Are The Hansons. Today I want to take you on a trip down memory lane to my own childhood. I grew up with 4 sisters and 1 brother. And let's just say, life wasn't always easy. My parents worked all the time just to keep food on the table and a roof over our heads. That meant my sisters were really the ones who raised me. We weren't rich, not even close. There were times when my parents struggled to pay bills, and we moved around a lot, switching schools more times than I can count. But through all the chaos, there was love, laughter, and lessons that shaped me into who I am today. With 6 kids in the house, things were always loud and busy. My brother was the oldest, and I was the youngest. My older sisters, they played the role of the caregivers more than just siblings. They made sure there was food, they helped with homework, and they comforted me when, life felt uncertain. When both my parents worked constantly, just to make ends meet, you don't always get that traditional family setup with family dinners and bedtime stories. Instead, my sisters were the ones tucking me in at night and making sure I was ready for school in the morning. I learned early on how to be independent, how to take care of myself, and how to rely on the people around me. My sister Courtney, she was not the oldest, she was the 3rd oldest. She was more of a mom to me than she was my sister. I was with her all the time, 24/7. She always calls me like her mini-me. I was really close with her. As I grew older, I became really close with my sister Hope. And me and her are very close still to this day. I really don't have much of a relationship with my brother. He's kind of the outcast. He was the one always getting into trouble and stuff like that. So none of us really talked to him. And then I talked to my older sister, Vanessa. She's the 2nd oldest. And then I talked to Courtney, and we don't talk very much, but we talk. And then I don't talk to my sister, Stacy, because it's just problem after problem. And then me and my sister, Hope, we're always talking. You always have to have the one sibling or maybe 2 in the home that are the trouble. Anyway, money was always tight for my parents. There were times when we weren't sure if the electricity would be staying on or if we'd have to move again just because rent was overdue. It was a struggle for my parents, and my parents worked 24/7. It seemed like they were never around. They did their own construction thing where they built houses or painted or did roofing or whatever they could do to pay the bills, they did it. My dad also worked at Yerkes Observatory, which is a beautiful place in Williams Bay, Wisconsin. He did maintenance there. Not only did he work there, but he also did construction work, built houses, whatever it may be, just for that extra money. And my mom was in road construction as a flagger. So she traveled a lot. She was always on the road. They were always gone. And when she wasn't, she was helping my dad building decks, putting roofs on houses, whatever they could do to survive and provide for us kids. My dad is the hardest working man I've ever met. So was my mom, and we still struggled. It was nonstop. We were constantly moving. I remember we switched schools so much. It was a bummer that we always had to switch schools, but had to do it. Your parents got to move, so do you. You can't just stay. I remember watching my parents stress over paying the bills, counting out cash to make sure they had enough for groceries. We didn't get brand new clothes every school year. A lot of our stuff was hand-me-downs, which I'm okay with that. That was just the way of life at that point. That's probably where my love for thrift stores and hand-me-downs really started. But even with the struggles, there was this unspoken understanding in our family. We had each other. My parents were doing the best they could, and my sisters filled in the gaps where they were needed. One of the hardest parts of my childhood was moving and switching schools all the time. Just when I'd start to feel settled in, we'd have to pack up and go somewhere new. It made friendships very difficult, and I always felt like I was the new kid everywhere we went. Even sometimes we would be starting school in the middle of a school year, and I hated that. Being that new kid, it was like you had to prove yourself over and over again. But if there's one thing that experience taught me, it was how to adapt. I learned to read people very quickly, to figure out how to fit in, and how to be okay with change. It wasn't easy, but looking back, I see how it made me stronger. I am that person. To be honest, I do not have a filter. And if you're being mean or saying hurtful things, I am the one that's going to tell you how I feel. It's just how it is. I just say it. Sometimes it hurts people's feelings, but if you don't like what I have to say, don't talk to me, pretty much. That's how I am. Even though my childhood wasn't picture perfect, it shaped me the way I am today and how I parent. I know what it's like to grow up in a home where money is tight. Parents are always working. I know the sacrifices older siblings make when they step in as the caregiver instead of the sibling. And I know how important it is to create a stable, loving home, something I strive for with my own kids every single day. Life back then wasn't easy, but it taught me resilience, gratitude, and the value of family. And now, as I raise my own big family, I carry those lessons with me every step of the way. I try to teach my kids that not everybody has to struggle in life. I try to make sure that they see that you go out and work your butt off to pay your bills and stash some money aside. And as long as you're working and not slacking, you could make a good amount of money, at least enough to provide for yourself and your family. Because granted, my parents worked 24/7. Not every person has to work like that. If you can find a good paying job with great benefits, you will not have to struggle like that. Just seeing my parents struggle growing up, I always told myself, I will never let my kids wonder where I'm at. My older kids will not be raising their siblings, and I will do whatever I got to do to make enough money and also have a home life as well. Sometimes it's hard, but You just do it. That's why I think that me and my husband have decided that we were going to be entrepreneurs, because owning your own business like we do, it helps when you need a break and you need a day off. You can rearrange your schedule so that you don't have to work on a specific day. There for a while, I was a supervisor at the hospital here, and I missed out on so much stuff with my children, and it really crushed me. You know, there's more to life than working 24/7 and missing out on your kids growing up. I seen that myself. I missed out on a lot of stuff with my kids. And I told my husband and I told myself, I will not be like my mom and dad and never have any part in my children's lives. I want to be able to own my own business and make a living. Yeah, you might have to do a big job that lasts a week, but then you can take a week or two off.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Or you can do little jobs in between that don't take all that time. If you need to rearrange that schedule, it's no big deal. You can do that. So that's what I do. When I need more work, I will get more work, whether it be cleaning, whether it be painting, whatever it may be. Besides power washing, we can do all this little bitty stuff in the background. I also get the joys of being here to tell our family's life story with you guys. I want you guys to know we are an open book in our home. We may have had the crappiest past growing up, but that is who we are today. And I wouldn't say all our childhood was crappy, because my dad took us on vacations. We went to Florida, and it was mostly my sister Hope and I. We went all over the place with my dad. He took us to Florida. He took us to Kentucky. You know, we went camping. We went fishing. We went on fishing trips and canoeing. And it was so fun growing up. And I will never, ever forget those memories that we created with my dad. We didn't get to go with our mom very much, just because my mom stayed home to take care of the animals and my other siblings. My dad, he always was taking us places. And we didn't really do family vacations. We did do family fishing day trips, but we never ever were able to go on a family vacation. So that was kind of a bummer. And I've always wanted to do that with my own children, and I made sure that that happened. Just because I want them to experience life. If we do the work, we can be able to do the trips. We try and save as much as we can. I know my parents couldn't, but they had a lot of bills back then. So just me sitting here and being able to tell you, never struggle and miss out on stuff with your kids because you're working 10 different jobs. Find a good paying job and stick with it that has good benefits, and you are able to provide for your family. Make sure that you can also have time for your own kids and family, because that is one thing that I missed out on so much as a child. Not being able to see my mom and dad very often because they were always working. Not being able to have family dinners. We did do family Christmases and Thanksgivings together, but it's nothing like, that's one day a year. It's nothing like every night or every other night being able to sit down with your family and enjoy it. And even Christmas time, my mom and dad did make sure that for the most part we had good Christmases, but they struggled. And I don't ever want to struggle like that. And we did in the beginning. We did struggle. And it wasn't fun. And I always told myself, I'm not going to do this. We might have it happen here right now, but I'm not going to do this forever. And sometimes you just got to set your mind to something and just do it. And that's what we do. And if there's other opportunities that we can make money, we do it. We will figure out how to do something just to make money, to make sure that our kids don't ever go without, that we don't ever go without, and that we can provide. And that's just the way it is. You know, living paycheck to paycheck, that was my mom and dad. We did that when me and Jeremy first got together. We lived paycheck to paycheck, and it was horrible. I don't know how many times we struggled right at the end when our paychecks wasn't going to hit until 2 or 3 days later. We struggled. It was not easy. It was not fun. We've had our electric shut off. We've had hardly any food in the house. You know, now I look back and I'm like, God, I can't believe I went through that. I know everybody goes through it at one point or another in life, but you never want it to be you. And definitely don't want to see your kids do it. And that was a learning experience for me and my family. Going back to always switching schools, that's another thing. My kids have done that. My kids have switched schools at least 3 times. I feel so bad that happened because I know what it feels like. Granted, the last 2 schools, my kids were okay with switching. It's not good. I tried to tell myself I would never put my kids in that situation. I did, and it was horrible. It's easy to look back and focus on the hard parts, the financial struggles, the uncertainties, the constant change. But the truth is, my childhood wasn't all bad. It was full of laughter, sibling adventures with my dad, some with my mom, and moments of pure love. My mom and dad, they always cared a lot about us kids. As my parents have gotten older, me and my dad haven't seen eye to eye sometimes, but I love him. I know that he worked hard. Granted, he didn't show us the affection like a dad. I mean, he told us he loved us or, hugged us or whatever, but it wasn't a constant thing. But we knew as kids that our dad loved us. Same with my mom. My mom has always been that mom that I guess I was really close to her. I remember one time from not being able to see her, it brought me close to my mom because I always wanted my mom because I never got to see her. And she came home from work and had to run to the store while I was taking a bath, and I wanted to go with. Well, she was just running in, grabbing something and coming home. She got in the car to leave, and I heard her start the car. I ran to the bedroom window, and I was pounding on the window trying to get her attention because I wanted to go with, and I put my hand through the window. Needless to say, I was rushed to the gas station up the street from our house by my sisters, and the lady that worked at the gas station knew my parents, and she drove me to the hospital and met my mom and dad there. And I ended up having to get stitches. But that is something that it happens. I missed my mom. I wanted to go with her. Needless to say, ended up at the ER with stitches. My sisters did get in trouble for that because my dad said that they weren't watching me, which they were, but it happened so fast, there was no stopping it. We didn't have much, but we had each other, and we found joy in simple things. Playing outside, we had a playhouse. It was pretty fun. Watching shows together, we learned how to be creative, to appreciate the things money couldn't buy. that's what growing up was in my life. And my sisters, they weren't just my caregivers. They were my first examples of strong, capable women. They taught me responsibility, kindness, and the importance of looking out for each other, as I have taught my children to do as well. Now, as a mom raising my own big family, I see how much my childhood influenced the way I am. And I know what it's like to grow up without financial security. I work hard to give my kids the stability I craved. I understand the sacrifices siblings make for each other, and I encourage my kids to build those bonds too. I know the weight of being the new kid, and I do everything I can to create a home that feels safe, steady, and full of love. And I will continue to do that for my own children. Most of all, I understand what it means to be raised by people around you, not just your parents, but by your siblings. Just circumstances that had to happen, and that's what it was. Even though it wasn't always easy, I wouldn't change it because it made me me. That's who I am today. I'm going to end this tonight with some closing thoughts. If you grew up in a similar situation, if your childhood was shaped by struggle, by strong siblings, by constant change, I see you. It's not easy, but it builds something inside you that can't be broken. Thank you for listening to this episode of We Are The Hansons. If you want to send me an email and ask me questions, you can send it to wearethehansonsshow@gmail.com, or you can send it to our We Are The Hansons Facebook page. Please get over to our YouTube channel and subscribe to our YouTube. Until next time, take care. And remember, the things that shape us don't have to define us, but they can make us stronger.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.